You know that feeling when everything in your world goes quiet, not peaceful quiet, but the kind that comes right before disaster? That's exactly how it felt when my husband started screaming my name in the middle of our daughter's graduation ceremony. 1 second, the crowd was clapping politely for the next kid walking across the stage, and the next, all eyes were on us. At first, I didn't even process that it was happening. I heard the shout, sharp, guttural, full of rage, but it felt like it was coming from somewhere else. Then I saw him, my husband, Mark, standing 2 rows down, face flushed, hands clenched into fists, staring directly at me. "Amanda, don't you dare walk away from me," he bellowed. I froze. Everyone froze. Even my daughter, mid-step on the stage, turned her head, her mouth parting slightly in horror. A sea of murmurs rose behind me like a wave, and I could feel the judgment pouring in from every direction. Parents shielding their kids' ears. Phones being pulled out, of course. Because why let a family collapse in private when you can film it for TikTok? And there I was in my best dress, mascara on point, clutching the tiny white purse that matched my heels, and wishing I could sink through the floor. I whispered, "Mark, please sit down," my voice tight, eyes scanning for our daughter, for the dean, for anyone who could take the spotlight off me. But he wouldn't stop. "You think I'm an idiot? You think I didn't see it? I saw the whole damn thing." Saw what? That's what kept running through my head. What did he think he saw? A security guard stepped closer, uncertain whether to intervene. I tried to calm him, to hush him, to get him to think, but it was like something inside him had snapped. This wasn't a man throwing a tantrum. This was a man who thought he caught a ghost with blood on its hands. And in that moment, with hundreds of eyes boring into my back, I realized something even more terrifying than the public humiliation. I had no idea what he was talking about. But whatever it was enough to make him torch 20 years of marriage, right there between the folding chairs and plastic graduation banners. It's funny how people always assume these things happen suddenly, like one big betrayal just drops out of the sky and detonates everything. But that's not how it works. In real life, it's a slow rot, a quiet shift, 1,000 tiny moments when someone who used to look at you with warmth starts looking through you instead. Mark wasn't always this man. Not even close. When we first met, he had this magnetic confidence that made people lean in. He didn't talk a lot, but when he did, everyone listened. I was fresh out of college, waitressing to pay rent, and completely uninterested in relationships. Then he came into my section one night, ordered a coffee at 9 p.m., and left a $20 tip on a $3 bill with a note that said, "You're too smart for this place." God, I fell for that man so hard. We built a life together, modest, full of little victories. Our daughter, Lexi, was the brightest of them all. She was born during a thunderstorm. I remember Mark holding her like she was made of glass, whispering, "She's going to change everything." And for a while she did. We were happy. We were young. We believed in each other. He used to leave love notes in my bag, text me in the middle of meetings, just to say he missed my laugh. He'd dance with Lexi in the kitchen while dinner burned in the oven. For a long time, I thought this. The marriage, the house, the school plays and Sunday pancakes was the reward for all the hard years before. But little things started to shift. At first, they were so subtle I didn't notice. He stopped texting first. He stopped asking how my day was. He'd come home and scroll through his phone while I talked about work or Lexi's latest obsession. No fights. No screaming. Just silence. Disinterest. And here's the cruelest part of it. When someone stops loving you, they rarely say it. They just drift. And you, the one left behind, start doing backflips to keep them anchored. You change your hair. You smile more. You stop mentioning the things that annoy you because God forbid you seem difficult. You become a stranger to yourself, all in the name of saving something they've already decided to abandon. I told myself it was a phase. Maybe he was stressed at work. Maybe he was going through something he didn't know how to talk about. I excused the distance. I excused the late nights. I even excused the birthday he forgot. Our daughter's birthday, not mine, because I didn't want to believe the truth staring me in the face. And then he started treating me like a coworker. Someone he had to update, not confide in. Our conversations became logistics. Bills, appointments, school meetings. No more deep talks. No more us. We were project managers of a life we used to love. Lexi, sweet Lexi, noticed. She's smart, too smart sometimes. She'd ask why Daddy never sat at the dinner table anymore. Why he always smiled with his mouth, but never his eyes. I'd lie, of course. Say he was tired. Say he was busy. But how do you explain to a teenager that the foundation of her family is cracking, and you're standing on top of it with a bucket of glue and a prayer? And yet, despite all that, I still tried to make graduation day special. I bought a new dress. I told myself, he'll be proud. We'll take photos together. Maybe today will remind him of everything we've built. I even packed him his favorite coffee for the drive. Because even when a woman knows deep down that something is broken, there's always a part of her that hopes just one more good moment could fix it. That's the part that kills me. Not the yelling, not the scene, but the fact that right before he exploded, I was still holding on to hope. The morning of Lexi's graduation started like any other big day in our house. Chaotic, emotional, and just a little bit too early. I remember waking up before my alarm, lying there in the quiet, listening for signs of movement. Nothing. The house felt still. Not peaceful. Just off. I padded down the hallway in my robe, peeked into Lexi's room. She was curled up like she used to be when she was little, her graduation cap and gown hanging on the closet door. I just stood there for a second, letting myself feel the weight of it all. My baby was growing up, leaving soon, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I was hoping, no, counting on, today being a kind of reset button for Mark and me. A shared win. A reminder of what we'd done right. I found Mark in the kitchen, dressed, coffee already made, staring at his phone. He barely looked up when I walked in. "Morning," I offered, trying to sound light, normal. "Morning," he replied, flat, without looking up. Not even a smile. Just thumbs scrolling and eyes locked on the screen. I told myself he was probably just reading the news. Maybe checking the ceremony details. But his jaw was tight. His phone buzzed twice, and he turned the screen away, slipping it into his pocket. A flicker of discomfort pulsed through me, but I forced it down. Not today, Amanda. Not on her day. We moved through the morning like co-workers on a deadline. I did Lexi's hair while she rehearsed her speech in the mirror. Mark took the garbage out. I packed snacks for the car. He checked the gas tank. It was all efficient, coordinated, but cold. By the time we were driving to the university, Lexi was bubbling with excitement in the back seat, and I was gripping the armrest like I was holding on for dear life. Mark kept checking his phone at red lights, always tilting the screen just out of my view. My gut twisted tighter with every glance. "I'm so proud of you," I said to Lexi, turning around, ignoring the man beside me. "No matter what happens today, just know that." "Okay." She smiled wide. "Thanks, Mom. I love you." I didn't look at Mark. I didn't ask him to chime in. I already knew he wouldn't. At the venue, the parking lot was packed. Families everywhere. Parents beaming. Kids running in robes and sneakers. It should have felt joyful. But I could feel it, him. Distant, distracted, like he was only there because he had to be. We found our seats a few rows back from the stage, just as Lexi joined her classmates. Mark stood beside me, arms folded, scanning the crowd like he was expecting to see someone. Or maybe just watching for something. "Are you okay?" I asked him quietly. He blinked, snapped out of whatever fog he was in. "What?" "You've been weird all morning." Distant. He gave a forced half shrug. "Just tired. It's early." But it wasn't tiredness I saw on his face. It was tension, like something was pushing against the edges of him, trying to break out. Then came the moment I'll never forget. He pulled out his phone, opened something, and froze. Just froze. His eyes locked on the screen. His lips parted. No expression, just stillness. Like time had stopped for him and him alone. I leaned over. "What is it?" He didn't answer. He just slowly turned the screen toward me for a second, too fast for me to register what I was seeing, and then locked it again, slipping it into his jacket. "What was that?" He looked straight ahead, stone-faced. Nothing. But it wasn't nothing. His body told me that. His silence screamed it. He wasn't just mad, he was calculating. Processing. Building to something. The ceremony started. Names were being called. Lexi's row began to rise. I reached for his hand, an instinct, a desperate reach for connection. He didn't take it. And in that split second, I knew. Something was coming. I didn't know what. I couldn't have guessed how bad it would get. But the man beside me wasn't my husband anymore. He was a storm, coiled and ready to break. And our daughter, our beautiful, brilliant Lexi, was walking across the stage, right into the middle of it. If you've ever watched a person come undone in real time, you'll understand what I mean when I say Mark didn't explode all at once. It wasn't one scream. It was a crack, then a shudder, then a full-body collapse of whatever was holding him together. It started right after Lexi's name was called. She stepped up to the podium, not just to collect her diploma, but to give a speech. She was class speaker, something I hadn't told many people about because she wanted to surprise everyone. She was nervous about it, but proud. I was bursting with it. I thought he would be, too. But when she said the first line of her speech, I want to thank the people who truly shaped me, who showed me how to survive even when things weren't perfect. I saw something in Mark's face that I can only describe as rage disguised as revelation. His jaw locked, his hands clenched on the program in his lap, so tightly it began to crumple. His leg bounced like a loaded spring under the chair. She kept talking, Lexi, steady and composed, about strength, about watching someone rise after being hurt, about how she learned what real love looks like not from watching it, but from not seeing it when it mattered. It was subtle, carefully worded, the kind of truth only a teenager could say while looking like a perfect angel on a perfect day. And it shattered him. His breathing changed. His skin flushed. I whispered, "Mark, it's just a speech. Let her speak," but he wasn't hearing me. He wasn't there. Then came the moment, the match to the powder keg. A man a few rows in front of us stood to take a picture of Lexi. Just a proud dad or uncle, holding up his phone, smiling. Normal. Harmless. But Mark went rigid. He grabbed my arm, so hard I dropped the little paper program. His voice low, almost growling. "That's him, isn't it?" "What?" I turned to him, confused. He jabbed a finger toward the man. "Don't play stupid, Amanda. That's the man from the photo." I blinked. "What photo?" His eyes were wild now, mouth twisted, voice loud enough to draw a few looks. "You know damn well what I'm talking about. You think I wouldn't recognize him? You think you could hide it from me? From our daughter?" It hit me then. He thought I was having an affair. Worse, he thought this man, this stranger, was Lexi's real father. "Mark," I said, trying to stay calm as the realization crashed into me. "That's one of the teachers. I don't even know him." But he wasn't hearing that. He pulled out his phone and shoved it in my face. There was a photo, a blurry shot of me, at school pickup a few weeks back, talking to someone. A man. Tall, light hair. We were laughing. That was it. "This is who you've been sneaking around with," he demanded. "This is why you've been acting so innocent. Don't insult me." My heart was pounding. "That's Mr. Carter. He's Lexi's counselor. We were talking about her college essays. That's all." But he'd already made up his mind. In his head, he'd stitched together a full-blown betrayal based on a grainy photo, a few coincidental smiles, and our daughter's pointed speech. And then, like a volcano finally giving up its last breath, he stood up. He didn't just stand. He launched out of his chair, voice booming through the quiet auditorium. "You lied to me. You lied to everyone." Heads turned. Phones went up. And I sat there stunned, barely breathing. Lexi stopped mid-sentence. The dean turned to look. Security started moving. I grabbed Mark's arm. "You're embarrassing her. Please sit down. We'll talk after." But he pulled away from me like I burned him. "Don't touch me. Don't pretend you care." And then he said it. The words that changed everything. "You think I didn't know she's not mine?" A silence fell over the room, so hard. I swear I heard someone gasp. Lexi. Our daughter. His daughter, standing on stage, eyes wide, shaking. He had just accused me, publicly, of hiding a paternity secret, of lying for 18 years. In front of our daughter. In front of her classmates. In front of everyone. I stood up fast, tried to reach him, but he backed away like I was the one who'd just detonated the bomb. "I saw the emails," he said, lower now but still loud enough for everyone near us to hear. "I saw how close you are with him. I know what this is. It was like he had constructed a whole alternate reality in his head, and then decided today was the perfect day to unleash it. He wasn't angry anymore. He was broken, fully consumed by something I couldn't undo in a sentence. And as security gently asked him to step outside, as Lexi was ushered off stage, tears in her eyes, as whispers spread like wildfire across the rows of shocked families, I stood there, humiliated, heart pounding, and completely blindsided. Because he believed it, and I still didn't know what emails he was talking about. There's a kind of silence that comes after public humiliation, not peace, not quiet, but a heavy, hollow ringing in your chest like your body forgot how to exist in real time. That's what it felt like when I stood there in the graduation hall, surrounded by hundreds of strangers, while my husband was being escorted out like a deranged protester. People were pretending not to look, but they were looking. Whispers curled around me like smoke. I caught fragments of them. Did you hear what he said? And do you think it's true? As I gathered my things with trembling hands, I wanted to run, to vanish, to do anything but exist in that moment. But I had to find Lexi. She'd been rushed backstage, and when I finally got to her, she was sitting on a folding chair with her robe balled up in her lap and her mascara streaked halfway to her chin. When she looked up and saw me, she didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said, "Is it true?" Those words hit harder than any of Mark's accusations. I dropped to my knees in front of her. "No, baby. Of course not. You are his. You are ours. There's no one else." Her lip quivered. "But he said—" "I know what he said," I interrupted gently. "He's wrong. He's hurting, and he's angry, and he's built something in his head that isn't real. I swear to you, I have never cheated on him. Never. Not once." She just nodded, hollow, and looked away. I wanted to wrap her in my arms, to hold her the way I did when she was little and scraped her knees, but she didn't want to be touched. I could feel the wall go up between us, not because she believed him, but because she didn't know what to believe anymore. She was in shock, same as me. Later that evening, when we were finally back home and the weight of the day had fully settled into my bones, I found Mark in the garage, sitting on an overturned paint bucket, drinking from a bottle of whiskey he kept for special occasions. He looked up like he'd been waiting for me. "I want the truth," he said. "No preamble. No apology. Just demand." "You got it already," I shot back. "But let me say it again for the cheap seats. There's no affair, and Lexi is your daughter. Biologically, legally, emotionally your daughter." He held up his phone again. "I saw the emails." "What emails?" I asked, honestly baffled. He opened his inbox and showed me a thread between me and Mr. Carter, Lexi's counselor. I scanned them quickly. College applications, essay drafts, some back and forth about recommendation letters. Standard stuff. At the bottom, one message from me. "Thank you for everything. You've been such a blessing during this time. You really get her." That was it. "That's your smoking gun?" I asked, incredulous. "You don't talk about me like that," he snapped. "You don't thank me for helping her. You thank him, like he's part of your family." I blinked. "He helped her, Mark. That's his job." His hands were shaking now, the bottle dangling from one of them. "She doesn't talk to me the way she talks to you. She doesn't trust me. And then I see you laughing with some other man in the parking lot, and she's giving speeches about not seeing love when it mattered. What am I supposed to think?" "Oh my God," I said, taking a step back. This wasn't about an affair. This was about guilt. His eyes narrowed. "What?" "You knew you were slipping away. You knew you hadn't been there. Not really. Not for her, not for me. So you turned that shame into paranoia and made me the villain, because it was easier than admitting you abandoned us emotionally." He didn't say anything. Didn't deny it. Just stared. "You made up a story, so you didn't have to feel like the bad guy," I continued, voice trembling now. "And you screamed that story in front of our daughter. Do you even understand what you've done to her?" Still nothing. Just a hollow stare. I laughed, bitter. "You couldn't handle being irrelevant in your own daughter's life, so you blew up the one moment that was supposed to be hers. You made it about you." And then, finally, his shoulders slumped. His jaw unclenched. He looked so small, so completely deflated, I almost felt sorry for him. "Almost. I didn't know what else to do," he whispered. "I thought I was losing everything. You were, I said. But not because of anything I did. You lost us the second you stopped trying. I walked out of the garage and didn't look back. That night, I slept in Lexi's room, curled up on top of the covers while she stared at the ceiling in silence. We didn't talk. There was nothing left to say. We just lay there in the wreckage, two women trying to breathe through the fallout of one man's collapse. And in the quiet, I realized something painful and true. This wasn't the beginning of the end. The end had already happened. This was just the part where we stopped pretending otherwise. In the days that followed, the silence around our house was no longer heavy, it was surgical. Like the quiet after a bomb has gone off, and all you can hear is your own heartbeat and the ticking of what's left. Mark moved into the guest room. He didn't say he was sorry. Not really. He just hovered, making coffee without asking if I wanted any, replacing the batteries in the remote. Little gestures that were meant to be olive branches, but felt more like panic buttons. He didn't understand. You don't get to scream lies into a microphone and fix it with fresh espresso. Lexi didn't speak to him. Not once. Not a word. She barely looked at him. She spent most of her time out of the house or locked in her room, headphones on, nursing the kind of betrayal that lives in the bones. I didn't push her. I didn't try to make it okay. I just stayed nearby, ready for her if she needed me. 3 days after the ceremony, I came home from the grocery store to find Mark sitting at the kitchen table, staring at an open envelope. His hands were shaking again. I thought he was drunk, but there was no smell. Just fear. I ordered a test, he said without looking up. I didn't ask what kind. I already knew. He handed me the paper. DNA results. A rush job, apparently. Probably ordered in the fog of his guilt, hoping to validate the fantasy he'd built to excuse himself from what he'd done. She's mine, he said quietly. I was wrong. I didn't flinch. You didn't need a lab to tell you that. He nodded slowly, the way people do when they finally run out of excuses. Then came the words he hadn't said since this began. I'm sorry. And I believe, in some distorted, broken way, he meant it. But it didn't land. It didn't fix anything. It was like trying to patch a sunken ship with a post-it note. You didn't just doubt me, I said. You destroyed me. In front of her, in front of everyone. Do you have any idea what that does to a daughter? To a woman? I thought I was losing you, he said. I already felt like a stranger in this house. You were, I replied. But not because I pushed you out. You left long before you ever shouted at that ceremony. And there it was. The quiet confirmation we've been circling for years. We were done. This wasn't about one day or one accusation. This was about everything he let rot while I was busy trying to salvage us. We weren't a team anymore. Hadn't been for a long time. But I didn't scream. I didn't beg or throw things or storm off like he did. I just stood up, walked over to the fridge, and pinned Lexi's graduation photo to the door. Just her. Alone. Beaming. Untouched by what followed. She deserves better than what we gave her, I said. And I won't let you take up space in her future the way you did in our past. He blinked, like the reality of those words hit harder than any slap could. So what now? He asked. Now. Now was the twist. I smiled, small but solid. Now I talk to a lawyer. You pack a bag, and we figure out what shared custody looks like, if she even wants it. He didn't argue. He knew better. The next day he left. No door slam. No goodbye. Just gone. And for the first time in years, the house was quiet in a way that didn't feel haunted. It felt open, like the breath you take after breaking the surface of deep water. Lexi came into the kitchen that evening and poured herself a bowl of cereal. She didn't say anything right away, just stared at her photo on the fridge. He's gone, I said. She nodded. Then, finally, she spoke. Can we start over? I looked at her, my daughter, the girl who had to watch her world implode while she was trying to step into her future. Yes, I said. We already are. And that's the real twist. Not the fight. Not the scandal. Not even the test results. The twist is, I thought I lost everything at that graduation. But really, I found the one thing I'd forgotten I had. Myself.